Hello, everyone. I just want to introduce our guest for today's amazing show, Trevor and Yvette Greenall, owners of Ink2Scalp Studios out of Brooklyn, Whitby. A great service. Their phone number is 905-655-0043. They can be found on social media at Ink2Scalp on Facebook, Instagram, and welcome, guys. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Welcome.
You are our first two guests at the same time, guests, whatever you want to call it, on our show. So we're very excited here. Can you just give us a little bit about what Ink2Scalp, who you guys are, what you guys do?
So as far as Ink2Scalp and who we are, honestly, pretty organic. We're just two people that found something that works, that can translate into helping other people. It just so happens to be, it's about hairlines and building hair density. And even though that sounds odd, that's who Scalp is at the baseline. More formally, I'm Trevor Greenall, and I'm the general manager and co-director. I focus in doing client consultations, as well as the business development and growth opportunities. That's my main focus as well.
And I am Yvette Greenall, and I am the lead technician and co-coordinator also with Trevor. So I do the bulk of the technical work. And yeah, so that's what we're married, and we live in Brooklyn, and this is our studio in Brooklyn, Ontario.
Right. So the service is essentially a tattoo on the head, pretty much, correct?
I mean, yeah, if you want to put it so simply, yeah, it's a tattoo on the scalp. But it's actually a medical grade tattoo. So it's very different from if you go to like a tattoo shop or if you go get permanent makeup. The skill is different, the technique is different, the ink, the tool, all that kind of stuff. It's all different, but yes, right. In simple terms, it's a tattoo.
Why did you choose to get in this? Again, most people that work, out of their homes, I'm going to sell something on, Amazon. I'm going to sell something on Etsy, whatever these sites are. Why did you choose, this line of work?
It really came down to the fact that Trevor was bald. And the fact that I have a very artistic background, and we kind of married the two, and we did lots of research and investigating. And the minute I started doing it, I saw what it did for him. And I thought, I want to do this for everybody that feels they want the change.
Right. So then once you started to do the research, and again, Dan, you can chime in whenever you'd like.
I'm trying to, but you just fire off like question after question. So I wait until you give me my cue. It's good.
Okay. Well, this is my last question. Then you can ask one. Okay.
Okay.
When you started doing the research, what was the volume of work / training involved in you getting, up to the standard that is required to provide the service?
Right. So this industry doesn't have a governing body, so it's really up to the practitioner and the person practicing to see how far they want to take it. In our scenario, we flew out to the States 3 times.
Right.
I did my, beginner kind of training, and then we went back and I did my advanced training, and then we both went back again, and I did my scar camouflage, and Trevor did his fundamental training.
Right.
We did some apprenticeship work before we ultimately ended up opening their studio about 4 years ago at home. So
How long was the process?
I would say in total about 2 to 3 years, something like that.
Perfect.
And I'm always learning, so
right.
I follow Yvette, and even though it's a million little hair follicle dot impressions, every one of those are important to the realism and look. And so she always gets an onlooker from me, and it's always nice to kind of meet the clients and hear their stories and have Ink2Scalp kind of family environment built.
Right. And so being located out of your home, I sense that your clients appreciate that more. Oh, you see, I lied to you.
You notice that totally wasn't his last question, right?
Well, I'm a liar. Call me a liar, whatever.
Larry King just goes on and on.
Okay, this is my last question. I'm even gonna write it down. Last question for now. But being out of your home versus getting a storefront must minimize people's, I guess, anxiety when it comes to approaching this kind of work for themselves?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. For a lot of our clients, we ask this question every single time because we really want to understand the perception of what in-home means of sometimes a lesser,
Right.
and that's just not the case. I mean, talented Yvette does what she does beautifully anywhere. It could be in an RV or in an in-house studio or anywhere, and the outcome is still the same.
Right.
From the client's perspective, it's really nice because we pride ourselves, and it's one of our I guess, pillars for Ink2Scalp is confidentiality. And so with that, honestly, without having a sign that flashes or blinks or anything like that on a storefront, they like the discreetness of walking into an in-house studio. We have professional signage outside, but it's still discreet. And so it's in, it's out, and there's no onlookers that can make them question what makes them feel good.
Right.
So it works quite well.
Dan, come on, Dan.
No, I'm
jumping in
bundling
for
3
you.
questions together, so that way when Will jumps back in afterwards, I'll have the ball out there. So my first question is if you're making that many, so I don't have any tattoos. I'm way too chicken to go that route. But I've heard from people how it feels as you're getting it done. Now I can only imagine, what would it feel like to have a needle in the head hundreds of times?
Absolutely. Great question. It is more of an annoyance. The feedback that I get anyways from my clients is that it's more of an annoyance than it is a pain. So the needle that I use is super, super tiny. It's probably half the size of what tattoo artists use, and we're not going as far into the skin. We're only going into the epidermal layer, which is a surface layer. So we're not going as deep as tattoo artists. So it is a little bit, pinprick, would you say, but it's definitely not a severe pain that's not tolerable. I do have some people that fall asleep. It really depends.
The last time a nurse told me that it was just a small needle, it was when they gave me the flu shot, and it was just a little small needle, but it felt like a mule kicked my shoulder for 3 days.
I know. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And then, like, who would this be for? Like, I know a lot of, look at Will disappeared on us. See, he's done. He doesn't get to ask questions, and then he just leaves.
That's right.
Quits.
That's what Will does. So who would this be for? Like, I know a lot of baldish guys, but they all just kind of shave their head down and that's it. Like, what would cause them to want to come see you guys?
Honestly, it's different for everybody, and sometimes it's an appearance difference where, okay, I don't have hair, and what do I want to do about it, or am I okay with being bald? We have other clients that are greatly thinning or somewhat thinning, and emotionally, they're like, I want to do something to make it look more full. So it's a full spectrum of choice. There's not just an ideal candidate or client. It's what makes them feel good. And if it happens to be that they're thinning and they want added density, or if they are bald and they don't like having the horseshoe in the back, or they want to build the bridge from I have hair here and I have hair here, let's have them meet. And so there's tons of different reasons on why, but it's different for everybody. But I guess, what would you say the ideal candidate is, Yvette?
I would say I have a lot of people that have scarring from, they have had hair transplants that maybe were unsuccessful. I've had people that have had childhood injuries that have scars that want them camouflaged. Yeah, definitely the typical Norwood scale levels of baldness. So you have 7 different scales, and for some people it doesn't bother them at all, and that's perfectly fine. But some people, just they wear wigs or they wear hair fibers or they try and do all these things that this really is the solution for all those things. So there is a big spectrum of people, but your more common is your scars and those that fit into the Norwood scale.
Well, I don't know if he watches our show, but this just, Dudley should really see these guys.
I'm going to send him this link. He needs to see this.
Send him
he had hair, and then a year later, had none. Like his hair fell out in a year.
Really?
He's the one.
And that can happen.
He's got the horseshoe bald spot, though.
Yeah, as do I. But again, I'm okay being bald. Some guys
That's right.
You have to have the right head for it, I think. Like, see, Dad, if you lost your teeth, Trevor's head before he did the Ink2Scalp thing, his head was fine. He has a head that supports being bald. But there's a maintenance involved, where I think Ink2Scalp allows you to look like you have hair that looks full and fresh constantly. Being bald is not easy. People think it's every other day you're cutting your hair. It's a process.
I feel bad for you, Will. I feel bad.
My life's so rough.
I feel bad. You have no kids. Don't talk to me.
What's the division between men? I know that's true. No kids. I hear that every episode. But you know what I have? I have a hectic life. Ish.
You do. We all sympathize for you, Willard.
Thank you. You feel okay? How many, like, of the percentage of clients you have, how many are women?
I would say 90% are men.
Okay.
But we do have that grouping of women that are also, thinning, and we do what's called a density fill on them.
Right.
Yeah, definitely not more as common as men, but I have my groups that definitely help them also. So yeah.
Now, so when you guys start, so from consult to completed product, what's the time frame?
Sure.
So as through consultations, honestly, the most important thing is to research the website and feel comfortable in gathering the information from what we present on Ink2Scalp.com. After that, after you build kind of a greater understanding, just simply book in a consultation, and we can either do a FaceTime meeting with you just like this, or we can meet you face to face with COVID parameters and things like that. And we get to evaluate your skin, evaluate what you're looking for. If in your hairline design, we work with a lot of different ethnicities, and so Yvette has to determine what kind of framework of your face do you want, profile sides. A lot of different things go into it, but we want to make sure your skin's healthy. And then from evaluating that, then Yvette goes directly into designing the hairline and going into commonly the sessions will differ for everybody. So Yvette, do you want to talk about the sessions?
Yeah, so typically we do the consultation, and then if the person is interested, they come back, they book their session 1 online. Session 1, we basically draw out the hairline, we talk about what they like, what I like, what they can grow it with also. We get session 1 done. Typically takes, depending on how much hair they have or don't have, about 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours. Then I would see them back about 15 days later for session 2. That's when we're starting to build a little bit more density and texture. And then about 20 days to 3 weeks after that, then I see them for session 3. And that's when we're making sure the blending is there, that that you're not able to see like where the horseshoe kind of line is. Everything's blended seamlessly. I often throw in a 4th session, a couple months later, they can always come back and I can just make any imperfections perfect at that point. So all in all, depending on their schedule and my schedule, 2 to 3 months, I would say.
And so at about 8 to 10 hours potentially per client.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So it's definitely a detailed thing, but I love it. So
when you're doing this, do you have like a software where you can put their head up and show them kind of what it will look like what it's going to look like when it's done?
So what we often do is with pre-consultation, we ask clients to send us just photos of just kind of what profile they have. So if they take a picture here of them being bald at the back of the horseshoe, and I'm able to design a mock-up where they can kind of see what it'll look like at the end. Again, it is just a general gauge, but it's a monumental change for what they're used to seeing. So I can actually kind of create that 1,000,001 follicle replication on their head to give them a perspective of what the general hairline could be. And again, that would, in person, adjust that to what perfectly fits, but they definitely get a graphic design kind of style to see what it looked like.
And what effect does the sun have on this? Like, is there any special precautions that people have to do with the sun beating down on their head all the time?
Yeah, definitely. Maintenance is sunscreen 60 plus is your best friend. That's what I always say. Once you get it done, like most bald men, you do have to protect your head because you get a sunburn quite easily.
It's easy.
So,
it burns easier on the head, that's for sure.
Oh, for sure, right? So you put on 60 plus, you're good to go. That's basic maintenance. It helps if you don't wear sunscreen and then you get like a sunburn continuously over time, it's going to increase the fading process faster. So typically I say you need a touch up every 3 to 5 years, whereas somebody who doesn't maintain and look after their skin, then they might need to come back, closer to 2 to 3 years. So.
Right. Why don't you take us, show us some of your products, some of your tools that you guys use? Because I'm intrigued here.
Yeah. So I can turn this around. Can I do it so it's a flip or no?
Do whatever you think. This is first time for everything. Dad's excited. I'm excited. You just lead the way. We've never had a demonstration before on our program.
I don't know if I could flip this around, but I'll bring you over to. So this is the studio space where we do the work.
Okay.
I typically do my consultation over here, where I show them some mock-ups that we may have done for them. They can have a seat there. And this is where I do the work. So they typically start out lying in the bed here. And then I bring them over to this funky looking chair over here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like a massage chair. Yep.
Yeah, like a little massage chair. And these are some of the tools that I use. If you can see there, I'm not sure. But this is the machine that I use, and it's called the Bishop Blend.
Okay.
So this is what I use, which is super teeny tiny. And obviously we make sure that before we do anything, we sanitize and clean and make it a really good experience for them.
And you're doing
it's a tiny little space.
Yeah, with that tool though, you're doing everything, like you're basically just touching like constantly with your hand like this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a repetitive, it's the art of pointillism, the technical term, yeah. So really the depth of penetration, the ink choice, the pressure I'm using is very important. So when I'm in the hairline area, sort of framing the face, we're very, very soft and delicate, sort of feathered in that area. And as we move back to the crown, the skin gets quite, so we go a little bit, hard. I wouldn't say very hard, but just to make sure that the impressions are implanted at the correct depth. So, yeah. So that's about it. There's not really too much to show, but it's a small little space. But
right, and you work on pretty much one. I mean, you obviously work on one client at a time in the studio. I mean, with COVID-19, like what are your protocols are pretty severe to begin with. You're basically, you're dealing with people's heads and whatever, and sweat, whatever. What have your protocols changed? Like, give us a bit of what you're doing now to sort of deal with COVID and your business.
Sure. Do you want to go, Trev?
Sure. Yeah. So how clients go through the process is, again, just like going to any type of doctor's office or dental office, we have a pre-screening questionnaire that we send to them the day before, where they have to evaluate their own terms of health. They send a text message back saying, I agree to the terms and I'm healthy. They just enter with their own masks. As soon as they enter, we take their temperature to gauge if they have any kind of fevers or any other type of ailments. With their mask on, they Purell or sanitize their hands with 70% alcohol, and then they take off their shoes and they go walk right into the studio. Studio is entirely clean with a Cavi spray, which is a specialized, highly antibacterial spray that we handle on all areas and products that are touched by human hands. And then they go right into session 1, where they lay in the bed. Yvette works behind that client's head, completing all of the 1,000,001 dots. So it's a pretty normalized process. They're just wearing their masks, as we have our face shields and our own masks as well. So COVID is not a huge change for us, to be honest. It's more of a change for the client to simply wear their mask. It's nothing necessarily different because we already had those high standards of sanitary requirements.
Right.
It's kind of awkward. I had to wear a mask.
We also
cut on Friday.
You had to wear a mask at your haircut on Friday?
Yeah, it was really weird. It's like you're going to the hospital to get some surgery done. You're standing there with mask. I don't like it. I went to a patio. The server's wearing her mask. I'd rather just stay home where I can pretend things are just normal.
I know. It's definitely a tough thing. Like, it's a transition for everybody. And the thing is that, you know, we get audited by Durham Region Public Health on a regular basis. So we just have to ensure that we're following all these things. But yeah, I mean, it's not so fun.
Let's talk about your marketing, because one of the things, you know, Yvette and Trevor, that I've praised you. I praise people when I think things are good, and so I don't.
And if you get praised by Will Ellis, watch out.
Yes, your social media, website, messaging, consistently good. And I know Yvette, actually both of you guys were not real big before you got into social media. Why? What did it take you guys to become fans of it?
We want to make sure that we get the word out properly,
right,
and do it justice for what it really is. And that's hard to do because there's always a misconception of tattooing on your head is strange in itself, let alone trying to hit a male market for something that aesthetically makes them feel better. So honestly, it's a real challenge to kind of have people feel comfortable, know that it's a truthful treatment. That's a balancing act. So Yvette and I talk all the time. It's funny. I mean, we work in this business together. We do everything together, and people are just shocked that you guys can actually stand each other that much.
Yeah.
But it's easy when at the end of the day, we just want to get the word out on anybody that wants a change. And so our kind of tagline is not anything salesy. It's simply just, if you could change it, would you? And you answer that as a client yourself. If there's anything that you could change, would you do it if you could? And when they realize this treatment, they definitely put that into question. But as far as our marketing, there's a lot of people that we need to give kudos for. As Yvette goes through her training, I go through my training in how to do Google ads and how to do Facebook ads, and what's the brand we want to present to the public.
Right.
We're connected to so many international businesses in this industry that they're all so welcoming to allow us to ask questions. How do you connect to your market? What do you find impacts your clients the most, where they feel good about the process? And then we just look at adopting it. Now, my background is business marketing back in the day. So I had that, but hadn't utilized it in today's technological ways.
Right.
And honestly, I have to give a big thank you, because there's a lot of students in Durham College that we have hired for either a placement opportunity or a project-based opportunity, where they've helped us kind of find our holes in how we can improve things. And then I go look at how we can implement it. But it is a partnership between Yvette and I every single time on what does our website at Ink2Scalp.com want to look like. Everything could be better. It's never ending. As you guys both know, we're always having to pivot and change in what's the new thing. We're getting into transitioning our videos, testimonials into YouTube. And shockingly, we have to pivot into TikTok now, because there's 1.5 million people that search scalp micropigmentation on TikTok.
I don't even know what TikTok is. I just started learning about Facebook, and like that already is enough for me.
I've been on TikTok. Like, I posted zero things on TikTok. It's a lot. And I'm a guy that, you know me, I'm a guy that loves the social media, but TikTok, what I find though, and I'll say this, because you know, my background is in marketing too, and business, all that stuff.
Yeah.
The reason why TikTok is effective is the fact the videos are quick, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, done. No drawn out, droning on, nothing. Then if people want to see more, they can link to your YouTube, link to your Instagram, link to your whatever.
Right.
That's what I'm going to eventually start doing. Dan shaking his head. But that's what I'm going to start doing eventually at the end of the summer. I just had to, you have to get an account and every day I would watch for about 10 minutes, and it's just a lot of dumb videos. But now I'm following, for me in my business, you know, DIY, construction videos, renovation project videos, a lot of like, oh, look at me invest in real estate, in 2015, look at my house today kind of quick videos.
Right.
Give you a feel for what people are actually watching. And it's quite good because it's so quick, the information that you receive. It's very effective. Right, Dan?
I hate social media.
And yet here you are with us.
You're on your own. You will never see a TikTok video come out of me.
You and me both. No.
But your testimonials, though, because your testimonials are what I think are effective, because they are of your actual clients. Can you give us a couple? And the testimonials are very, don't really go into the full story, but are there a couple of moments that you said, "Wow, I love what I do"?
Oh my gosh, honestly, there are so many. It's like these people willing to share their story never ceases to amaze me. There are so many. I've had people that have worn hair pieces for years and years that decide I'm going to take it off. People that have, worn wigs that there's so many. And until I started to really listen to people, I never realized how much of an impact hair could have. And, you say about social media and all that kind of stuff. And I thought the only way to make a change is to make a change. And I thought the only way that I can share my passion for this with other people is to change my resistance to social media and to let people know this is what I do and what, my husband does with me. He's my biggest cheerleader. And I want to be able to make people live their fullest life and feel good in it.
Exactly.
So.
You know what I've said? Go, Trevor.
I was just going to say, and Yvette mentioned some examples that are quite different from the norm of our clientele. What we do find that is kind of a median of normalcy is guys wearing hats 24/7 and matching their hat to the outfit. And some clients panicking or worried or concerned when they have to go to a wedding and they can't wear a hat. And that gave them anxiety. And those are the people that we're changing of, throw the hats away if you want. You don't have to live in a hat. You can just be free and not have so many things to think about that is overwhelming. You put SPF on your head, you buzz your head, you're good.
Right. What was I going to say? I lost my question there.
He's out of words.
I was just going to say, the biggest reason why your marketing is so effective, and that though Dad complains about not being on social media, he is also on social media, and he's very good at a couple of things.
Wait a minute. I am hardly on social media. And don't forget, don't kid yourself. Those posts that go out there, I'm not doing them.
Right. But who knows? No one needs to know you're not doing them, but they're out there. And my point is, coming out of COVID-19, and I believe this wholeheartedly business, that you want to position yourself as a person or business that was of service to people during the most stressful, weird time in our world in the last, 20 years. And I believe what you guys are doing online is effective. Because have you noticed an internet traffic increase in websites at all?
Oh, so much.
Right, you see?
Yeah.
People are exploring, and your website provides so much information and so many different types of people that have used your service, young, old, black, white. You know what I mean? That people are gonna be open to it, I think, now, knowing that someone like themselves used your service.
Yeah. That's kind of our goal. And we're always, we have some clients that are real big cheerleaders and open about them having their treatment, and they're always willing to talk to new potential clients too. So wow. I think that has been very helpful too, their openness. So it's very heartwarming for sure.
Now, have you guys won any awards?
Trev?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'll say this on Yvette's behalf, because what's beautiful about my wife is that she's humble in her skill, but she earns accolades quietly. So there is a large grouping of talented artists internationally, and this industry or this event or conference is called Meeting of Minds. So Yvette has actually been nominated as the top 25 rising star artist for all new businesses within 2 years. We're on the cusp of 3 years just passing, but for that time in 2019, top 25 internationally. So that, and it's based on her work. And that just rolls into the business of Ink2Scalp beneficially. But yeah, it's a pleasure to see that come through. And honestly, that doesn't happen by chance. That's our clients voting. That's friends and family voting. That's just any general public person voting for, hey, this is a legit treatment. This is a talented individual in business.
That's
awesome.
amazing. That's amazing. Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dad? Anything else to add?
To add?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think I have. Oh, I do have one question. Like, are you planning? You have any plans to expand into other cosmetic tattooing, or are you just going to specialize in the scalp?
This is my thing. This is my thing to the core. So I don't have a desire to branch out to anything else. There's so many talented, permanent makeup women and technicians out there that I want to stick with what I'm really good at and drive that home. So no, nothing else. This is just all I do.
As far as growth opportunities, that's my side of the coin. And so we always discuss growing bigger regionally, but we take it in baby steps. And what we're dealing with right now, it's definitely helped us evaluate, is it a leap or is it a step? And so we're just always debating how we do that.
Yes, but we won't ever expand really outside of the scalp. I think that was the question. Yes. Where we won't be doing, even if we expand the business into other, parts of Ontario, we will still be focusing on the scalp micropigmentation, not anything outside of that.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. Then, I know I usually, my actual signal cut out a couple of times, but I was still able to ask my 19 questions. So, Dan, anything else to add before I sum up?
I'm good, Will. You did a good job.
Well, again, I want to thank you, Trevor and Yvette, and I'm going to read everything here now because I have a long list of, again, Ink2Scalp out of Brooklyn Whitby, an amazing husband and wife working together, being of service to people who want to make a change in their lives. There's enough cannot be said about you guys. Go to their website, Ink2Scalp.com. They're available on social, Facebook, Instagram, at Ink2Scalp. And their email is Ink2Scalp@gmail.com. And their phone number, if you want to call them, if you're old school, 905-655-0043. Thank you guys so much. Hope we have a Canada Day. I appreciate it.
Thanks for the opportunity, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much for your time, Dan.
Yes.
See you later, Will. Bye, guys.
Take care.